much stuff floating around. I don't know. People trying to say they wasn't together.
Basically was trying to get into a threesome. What is going on? Happy New Year, everybody. I'm the one they call Manny. She's the lady of all K's. And we have a doctor in the house. Dr. Thomas Braxton Jones Jr. How you doing, sir?
I'm doing great, Manny. Thank you and Kalima for having me once again. I appreciate it.
Absolutely. This is like your third time here. We need to make a guest bedroom for you or something.
I did.
Have your own TV, Wi-Fi passcode. You even have a key to the house. Just don't eat my Oreos. That's all I ask.
And I love Oreos.
Okay, you and I are gonna have to fight for it then.
Oh my God.
Anyway, since we have a guest on the show, and some of y'all may not know who he is, Kalima, why don't you tell us who our guest is?
Oh my gosh, this guy is so phenomenal. He is a pillar in the community. He is the former president of the Monroe County NAACP, the former president of Monroe United, and just to top it off, like I said, because he is the pillar of the community. So we would like to welcome you, Tom.
Thank you. I always feel welcome when you and Manny ask me to be on the show, and I'm grateful to be here for this podcast.
Absolutely, man. Absolutely. We appreciate you. So for those who haven't read the title or realized that I'm in all black and also the lady of all K's in all black, we're going to talk about a subject that is somewhat relevant still a year later. If you're talking about January 6, 2021, you guessed it, is the insurrection where all these danger clumps stormed the Capitol and decided to kick in the dough Brooklyn style. So for those who doesn't know anything about this, we're going to pack this from beginning to end. So sit back, relax, grab some popcorn, and we're going to kick this thing off. Yes.
And before we start, I just have to tell everyone that this show today is sponsored by Lady Kay Enterprises, which we are a financial service firm in which we can help you from starting your business all the way to expanding your business. And you can reach us at www.ladykenterprisesinc.com.
All right. Without further ado, let the games begin. And for those who wants to comment on anything that we say, we feel free and we welcome it. Because I usually don't read the comments anyway, but it is what it is. So January 6th, let's start from the beginning. So on January 6th, 2021, we're still suffering from a hangover from New Year's Eve. We're thinking, the shit show known as 2020 is finally over. We can start off again new, and we turn on CNN, Fox News, or your local news station, and we see this. What were y'all's first thoughts? We'll start with you, Lady K.
Okay. Oh, wow. For me, it's like we know it's the obvious, but that right there was like the obvious on a silver platter. You know, it just remind me that, you know, we fight for so many things, but when we fight, you know, we get hurt. They fight, nothing gets happened. And this is a recurrent incident that is, I'm just sorry, this makes me sick to my stomach. I'm just sick of it. Every day, it's the same thing. They show us how we got to continue to fight, and they just have everything easy and breezy.
Pretty much. You explained it right there and there. Doctor? I know you.
Oh man!
I know you about to unzip this pack. Let's do it.
I'm unzipping it, and I'm almost going to mimic Kalima there because, and she's absolutely right. You know, there's three different types of justices. You have justice sometimes, justice no justice, and privileged justice. Those are the three justices that you have.
Privileged justice.
Because exactly. Because right now you're talking about January 6th. That's something that's not going to go away. And you have people that want to turn around and say the Black Lives Matter movement was worse than January 6th. The only problem with that is we were being shot with rubber bullets, tear gassed, pushed back, all right? And I didn't see any of that going on in January 6th at the insurrection. I didn't see any police trying to shoot any rubber bullets or tear gas into that what they call terrorist crowd. I'm sorry, they were supposedly touring the capital, which
Who said that?
yeah, the ones that are in denial, the ones that are ignorant, that want us to believe that they were just happy tourists that were going through the capital that day.
The
Okay,
wrong
and
way.
the
Like
wrong way, and there's no way that, and
oh
these people
gosh.
that they're giving subpoenas to, to testify, that wants to plead the fifth, they're also in denial. You know what I'm saying? But the problem is, you got 70 million people that are in denial. You know what I'm saying?
Oh,
So
trust me,
what do we say about them?
we're gonna get to all of that. We're gonna get to all
Okay,
of
I'm
that, and
sorry,
we're
I
gonna.
didn't mean to jump the gun.
Oh no! You're fine. You're fine. So let's start from the beginning. How this all started. Y'all ready? Here we go. So basically, this whole thing just kind of kicked off because we all remember the election. And we all remember of that whirlwind of election where we didn't get a definitive answer right then, which I expected. We got a definitive answer later on that week. And then everybody just pretty much went into a praise dance thing and done, ding dong, the witch is gone. He's going to be gone. He's going to be evicted. I mean, he's that person where you're clocking in from work and somebody from HR coming out, we need to talk to you. And they just lead you off. And then about 2 or 3 people grab your personal belongings and put it in a white box. And then they give it to you as you're walking out.
With the pink slip.
Right.
Well, mostly mine came in yellow, but still. But anyway, but the thing is, President Trump got outvoted and he's going to be gone. But here's the problem. When there's smoke, there's fire. Foreshadowing. Unfortunately, he claimed voter fraud and thinking that the vote was rigged. But here's the problem. As he was winning states, he said, stop the count. Stop it. We won.
We don't go that way.
It never went that way.
No.
It never, ever, ever went that way. Now, granted, I feel like the voter system needs to be updated, but that's another show. I feel like when you're doing these electoral votes and once the count comes in, that's when you can say, hooray, we won. No, he did a little premature. He kind of did a little premature dance, kind of like when Deshaun Jackson decided to let the ball go and decided to do his little dancey dance before he got into the end zone. And then next thing you know, yeah, you fumbled and the other team picks up the punt. But that's a whole football term. But what I would like to say is this. Unfortunately, this whole thing started with voter fraud claims that were very much unsubstantiated, and a lot of people just kind of went along with the ride. Okay? What do y'all remember from that point?
Well, I mean, what I remember really, and not to go too further back, he already put the nonsense in the game prior to the election.
Oh yeah.
So he set it up to where while he was losing or lost, he said, well, I told you the only way that I was going to lose is because of voter fraud. So everybody went for it. Hook, line, and sinker, and there was no fraud. First of all, like you said, Manny, how in the world are you the one that says, stop the counting of the votes, we won the election?
When it hasn't
Where
even
do
finished.
you come in and tell everybody that that's it, don't stop counting because it's over with? You have no right. You have no right. But we're talking about Donald Trump, who has a right to do everything, who has a right to file as many bankruptcies that he can, in order to do whatever he needs to do. He can turn around and say, I don't need to take the COVID, the vaccine, because I'm Superman. It'll never hurt me.
Or just inject yourself with bleach.
Or inject
that was a
yourself
good
with
one.
bleach.
Yeah,
And
that
some
was
other nonsense that he comes up with that's supposed to be presidential.
Let me stop. Let me add this note real quick. Now, fellas and ladies and people of all alike, this is the same person that got kicked off Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, even Pinterest. Do you even know how much of a jackass you had to be kicked off Pinterest? And he's
still
telling
trying to fight that.
He's gonna lose. But just the idea of, how can we put this? The fact that he said drink bleach or inject yourself with Lysol or whatever he said. Come on now.
Well, I mean, he has another saying too. Don't believe what you hear or see. Okay. He said that. And I'm going like, okay, so are we just supposed to believe you and nothing else when you don't have the truth coming out of your mouth? But as we know today, the lies, everybody has it. Everybody believes the lies because the truth is no longer the truth. And this is what has us divided. They want us to forget about January 6th. They want us to forget about slavery. They want us to forget about all those things, really, that have to do, and I hate to say this, with people of color.
Absolutely. And I got to chime in real quick because it's funny that you said it. You said they want us to forget, right? They want us to forget. But I know right now there's controversy about updating the history books and putting certain things in there, and they're against it. And it's like, it's so interesting how you're so against the truth being put in these books, but it's okay for us to just keep on the lies, and you want us to stay alive on the lies. That right there is just, I don't even know the word for it, but I think it's just
ludicrous.
It is ludicrous. It really
crazy.
is. But, and it's like,
BS.
if you really think about it, honestly, if you really think about it, this country was built on lies. You know, it really was. It was built on lies. You know, they sold us. They sold us the dream. They wanted to keep us in the dream, and they're still trying to keep us in that fantasy.
And you're absolutely right, because the dream was, when they brought the first ones over here, they told them to do this, and you're going to be okay. We're going to take care of you. And the next thing you knew, they were in chains. All right. They were in chains. They were in bondage. They were slaves. So my biggest thing here is they want to turn around and talk about critical race theory. There is no critical race theory. What it is what you said, Kalima. They don't want the truth written in those books about what really transpired. Why? Because their ancestors were part of it, and they don't want their children to find out that their mommy and daddies or great-grandmommy and daddies were slave owners. Right. They don't want that to come out, but it is what it is. And they need to be able to say, well, they were wrong to their children. They shouldn't have done that. That's the message that they should be saying, but they don't want to say that.
Right. And because we're talking about our roots right now, here's another thing too, because they put it in a way that it made it seem that we all came here on slaves, but I just have to throw this in, you know, just to correct people. To be honest, we were so brilliant that we knew how to trade with many, and we came over here. We was already over here migrating. We was over here, and we was also throughout Europe. So it's like we was not all on the slave ships, but they didn't tell us that. They don't want us to know us that we were here. This is our land. And they make it seem like it's not, but that's a whole nother show. And y'all got to come back for Black History. So I'm gonna give it back.
Oh yeah, yeah. Well, I definitely want to be back, because you're right in so many ways, Kalima. Because some of my ancestors are Indians.
Right.
You see what I'm saying? So my family comes from the tribe in North Carolina called Waccamaw Sioux, which is in Lake Waccamaw, North Carolina. All right. And we're still tracking our family heritage back then. So you're absolutely right, Kalima. A lot of our family ancestors were already here before the ones that came over on the boat, especially the ones in France and Italy who were Polish. Yep. And all those countries where Black people were recognized as predominant figures. You see what I'm saying? So, but they don't want to talk about that. You know what I'm saying?
Talk about we was kings and queens either, but
no, they don't want to talk about that. But you know, and not to get off where we're leaving, because there's so much to talk about, especially when we're talking about January 6th. But it all has meaning about what's going on today. It all has significance leading up to the insurrection. Why? Because you didn't want this president to come on to quiet out the noise, to quiet out the rhetoric that was going on and that had the country divided. It leads all up to that.
And the funny thing is, we're going to mention more about this down the road. It's like, it's just so much that people believe this so-called lie. And basically, unfortunately, people still to this day believe this so-called lie. But let's move on real quick, because what really happened is this. There was a rally on Washington, D.C. called Save America. The Save America rally. Remember that? Okay, so which kind of turned into a march. And the reason why it turned into a march because Voldemort, or he who shall not be named, basically said this: if you don't fight like hell, you're not going to have a country anymore. Now, let me ask y'all this question. When somebody says something like that, what usually inspires after that?
Emotions.
Okay, let's dig a little deeper. What kind of emotions?
I definitely got to say this because Tom hit on the head. He said emotion. He definitely knows how to trigger emotions and people act out upon it. I definitely have to say that because just thinking about going back to the debates and how when him and Biden was on the debates and he was just being a savage, I was like, wow, who speaks like this on national TV? You know, who holds himself like that? You don't even hold yourself accountable. You don't even try to present yourself in a certain manner. But it's okay how it's interesting how you project so people can react. And he got exactly what he wanted.
I'm sorry, I'm not laughing at what you're saying, Lady Kay. I'm laughing at the fact that I remember those debates and it's just like a complete circus.
Yeah, it was a circus. I mean, even Biden told them, "Oh, go shut up." He told them to shut up because it was so stupid. You know what I'm saying? But you know, I mean, these here it is, a man that is going to tell you right in his face what he stands for, and people want to stand with him. You need to be able to look at that real closely of what this man stands for. You see what I'm saying? And we know what he stands for because look at the condition that we are in today. But yet everybody wants to blame it on Biden. Did he make some mistakes? Yes, he did. But at the same time, he didn't bring all of this to the table. The table was already set. Now he has to unset it and set a different type of table to try to get rid of the rhetoric. But you got people that are holding on to that lie. They're holding on to the lie of January 6th, trying to say, no, that's not what happened. But meanwhile, these people at the January 6th insurrection, they wanted to hang the vice president. They wanted to kill Nancy Pelosi. And now we're hearing that they wanted to kill Mitch McConnell.
Right.
Now, hold on. We're gonna mention that down the road, but also let me bring some more rhetoric, rhetoric. We'll say that to what was said as well. Now, Donald Trump basically denounced a lot of people, and you mentioned Nancy Pelosi, Mitch McConnell, Mike Pence at one point, and we also had the Liz Cheneys. And on top of that, he even said this: we've got to get rid of weak congressmen, the ones that aren't any good, the Liz Cheneys of the world, right? So he called upon his supporters to fight much harder against bad people. Basically told the crowd, you are allowed to go by very different rules. Ding, 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 ding.
Yeah,
like you said, privileged justice.
Exactly. See, Michael Cohen said he's very smart, and we were just talking about that with words, the trigger words. So Michael Cohen said, oh, he's very smart because, you know, he doesn't have to tell you to go pick up a Coca-Cola. He'll just say Coke. And you know that means to go get him a Coke. You see what I'm saying? So he's with the mob type, you know, mentality. You know, if he says Manny, I don't like Tom. I got you.
Okay.
You know, next thing you know, Tom is missing.
Tom is missing and somewhere in a ditch.
There you go. And they'll say, what happened to Tom? Oh, Trump did it. Trump did Manny? Did Trump tell you to kill Tom?
No.
Well, he said Tom, and the expression on his face made me understand. So those same words that he said at the insurrection before they started to the Capitol, you need to fight like hell. Well, what does fight mean? He didn't say go there with marshmallows.
That's right.
He said, let's fight like hell. And that was it. And you had the other one that's saying it's time to take some names and start kicking ass. Right. Did he not say that?
Yes.
Yeah.
Come on. So you are inciting a riot.
What?
You
Matter of fact,
but you know what? Just to interject real quick.
Whatever happened to him?
This been going on for a long time. And when I say going on for a long time, I mean speaking that right code, because they have been doing that for a long time, and to make sure they cover their tracks.
Yeah.
And whatever happened to Rudy Giuliani?
Oh, they 86 him.
Oh, you mean the lawyer that's a liar?
Right.
Yeah, you got him.
I can make a weekend series out of Rudy Giuliani, because I know a whole bunch of New Yorkers, including this one, don't like Rudy Giuliani. But
no, never did.
Another show.
Never did. Yeah,
another show.
And that'll take maybe about 2 hours.
Yeah, you and Tom, y'all can mop the floor with that one. I'm gonna be in the background eating popcorn.
All right, great. All right. So for the most part, we're going to go ahead, and that's basically what was the genesis of this whole thing. So let's talk about the march, or we'll say march. So unfortunately, after this so-called rally, the danger clumps of the world decided to march to the Capitol and decided, take it back. Basically, I mean, what did they say? Hold on. Yeah, take the Capitol, invade the Capitol, storm the Capitol, fight for Trump.
Yeah.
Let's stop real quick and mention these words. Taking, invade, storm. Now I'm not an English major, but usually when you're saying those words, you're doing something by force.
Action. Those are action words.
Yes, action words.
That's what they are. And that means we want you to perform, and not in a nice manner. Right. Okay? Take it back. Fight like hell. What does that mean? It means everything that they did when they got there. Break down the doors, break windows, all right? Take fire extinguishers, hit people, spray them all over the place, beat up the police, kill whoever, if you have to, trample on people, go into public official offices, have yourself a seat with the feet on top of their desk, and the worst part is carry a Confederate flag through the United States Capitol.
That ain't the worst part. The worst part is when homeboy with the buffalo horns on came in there with the face paint on, came in there and act. I'm like, what? Put a shirt on. Oh
no, it was no respect.
Put a shirt on at all.
No. Yeah, it was no respect. They did, and they want to say we're tax-paying people and we're allowed to do whatever we need to do based on our Constitution. Well, the Constitution don't say that. You see what I'm saying? Right. And they want to try to change it and twist the words to make it out to where these people had a right to enter the Capitol that day, and they did not. Why? Because there was an official service going on to certify the new president of the United States. They were trying to stop it, which is illegal. They do not have the right. And you know why? Because Pence didn't have the right to stop it.
No one had the right to stop it. That's what kills me. Like, do y'all understand how this works? We've been doing this for X amount of years, and all of a sudden, y'all want to claim y'all don't know how this works?
No.
Yes, Lady K.
Yeah, Even Flynn turned around and said, "Oh, the president can have an executive order just to stop it, and he'll still be president." They were pulling it out of the ceiling, kid.
I got my finger up like, you know, when you in church.
I'm sorry.
Yeah, the church finger when you just like.
Got the church finger. I just want to say one thing, right? So it's kind of interesting how they're trying to say, well, how are we supposed to stop it? Let me just tell you this. If we would even just step foot on the steps, we would have been executed. And that's how that would have been stopped. And that's the only thing I'm going to say right there.
Oh, yeah. If it was a whole bunch of, if it was a whole bunch of us doing the same thing, we would have been mowed down like cattle.
Right.
Easy. If Black Lives Matter movement would have hit those Capitol steps, turned in on CNN that day, just wanting to see the count or the speaking of the electrical votes to state from each state. That's all I turned into it. And I ended up getting something that I never thought I would get. Yeah, what came to me was, hold on, why are they on the Capitol steps? What's going on here? And the next thing I know, they're inside the Capitol. I'm like, whoa, what's going on here?
You're inside the Capitol where you're not supposed to go in.
Yeah, I'm like, these people are inside, and they're wrecking the place. And they're looking to do bodily harm to some of the public officials.
Yeah.
This is crazy. I'm like, you gotta be kidding me.
And here's the worst part. And the funny thing is, I remember exactly on that morning, whereas I was doing my thing, and next thing you know, I get a phone call from my dad, and it said, "Are you watching the news?" And I said to him, as I said to everybody here on this platform, that I was wringing my brain off from the political news because I just had enough. You know, it was just so much to just take in. I just had to wring my brain and purge myself. To this day, I'm still doing such. But the fact is, my dad was like, "Put it on the news." And I'm like, all right, fine. So I put it on CNN or MSNBC. I think it was MSNBC. And I'm like, this is real?
Right.
This is happening?
Right.
Like, they really are marching up to the Capitol in a riot-like form. And wait a minute. Y'all seen this? You know what I'm saying? It's just kind of like one of those shock moments where it's just like, you don't know, you're trying to process what's going on.
Right. I think millions of people was trying to process it, because I remember I watched it. I said, is this really real? And I was like, you know what? To be honest, it's like nothing surprised me anymore. I'm gonna be honest with you.
Yeah. I mean, there was only two times. There was only 2 times where I had that same reaction I had on January 6th, when Mike Tyson bit off Evander Holyfield's ear, and beginning of 9/11, when the second plane hit the tower.
Oh yeah,
that's when I saw, like, wait. Like, it took me a minute to process the fact that actually happened.
Right.
And I'm watching it in real time.
Yeah. And that 9/11, I can't. I will always be devastated about 9/11. I guess that's something that they want us to forget as well, which I will never forget.
No one will ever forget that, and I don't care who you.
Well, guess what? I'm not going to ever forget January 6th. Because
those are the 2 days that you will never forget as an American.
In front of my eyes. It happened in a manner that made me say, like you, Manny, and Kalima, is this really happening? Can this happen? But I'll go back to what Kalima said. If Black Lives Matter would have been up on those stairs, they would have not shot them with rubber bullets. They would have been real bullets, just like the young lady guy that tried to climb through that window, which they're trying to say she shouldn't have been shot. They shouldn't have did that to her. Are you crazy? They was trying to hang Pence and kill Pelosi and McConnell. Right. And you're going to turn around and say they shouldn't have shot her? You were trespassing. You see what I'm saying? I would have did the same thing. I'm not going to turn around and say, oh, well, come on in. I'm giving you the opportunity to do bodily harm to me, and the people that I'm supposed to be protecting. You got to be kidding me.